JavaScript is not a classically object-oriented programming language, meaning it doesn't use classes. It doesn't do inheritance the way that classes do. It uses prototypal inheritance, and we're not going to get real deep into what that means. But in ES6, they did add the class keyword to sort of give us a syntax that's a lot more similar to classes in other languages like Java and Ruby and stuff. Just know that it doesn't behave quite the same way. It doesn't do everything the way that real classes do. But we can use them, and there are some advantages to doing that. It does make the syntax for inheritance a little less gross, and it lets us write methods and things in kind of a nice way that is not too dissimilar from what we're doing already. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this object into a class. And why bother when we've already done this? Because we're going to be using classes when we do React, and it's better to have seen them before, I think. So we'll say, instead of const app, let's say class app. And we don't need an equal sign. It's not an assignment. It's a declaration. So class app, curly braces. And then you don't put commas between all your methods. You just write the methods. And this is no longer a shortcut for this. This is just the syntax for making a method named load. Get rid of all these. And then, as you might imagine, a new instance of this class would have all these methods on it, as opposed to the class itself. So instead of calling app init, we would say new app, like that. If we wanted to, we could say const lowercase app equals new app. That way we could still get to it from the console if we wanted to debug that way. Or you could not. Doesn't matter. So then instead of calling init, because you could now say app.init, what if all the stuff that's happening in init right now instead happened in the constructor? So even though they're not really classes, they do have constructors that run whenever you instantiate a new one, whenever you use the keyword new. To do that, we want it to do what init does. So we can just rename this constructor. Some languages you would give it the same name as the class or something like that. Here, we just name it constructor, and it's magically the constructor. Notice it's even highlighted in a different color from the rest. And it can take arguments. So if we say new app and pass in this object that we passed into init before, that will hopefully do what we want. Let's see what happens. Refresh. Okay, it didn't explode right away. We'll just keep our console open in case there are problems. What if we try to star one? Still works. Try to edit. Tim and Eric's $1 billion movie, the movie. Enter. Yay. Move it up the list. Let's star this one too. Refresh. Everything still seems to work. Can we still delete? You bet we can. Refresh. Yes, it really deleted it. Excellent. Excellent. So that was actually super, super easy. So instead of wrapping everything in just an object, we put it all in a class. It meant we didn't need commas between the methods. It meant that we could create a constructor that just runs automatically when you run new. In this case, it takes arguments, so we still had to pass in that argument when we ran new. Down here. Now in React, this is really handy because we can use inheritance to create components that inherit from generic React components. I know those words don't mean anything yet. Use an ES6 class, or ES2015 properly. ECMAScript, which is the standard for JavaScript. ECMA script. Now, did I ever fix the ID problem? I don't think so.